right, we are live.
I see
Good
that.
morning. Good morning and welcome to Creative Marketing TV. My guest today is Lon Naylor. And Lon is on a mission to rid the world of lousy marketing videos. And he carries on this effort from his rural Wisconsin home on the Apple River while he enjoys trout fishing from his backyard, kayaking, and recording music in his recording studio. Lon is a video marketing expert, speaker, and creator of screencastprofits.com and learncamtasia.com, resource and training sites that teach how to leverage screen capture videos like those made with Camtasia for maximum marketing effect. A 30-year veteran of the computer industry, Lon spent the last 10 years of his professional career during the decade of the 90s as a senior engineer at Microsoft before retiring in 1999 at age 41. Nice work. There he specialized in high-level multimedia presentations where it was not uncommon for millions of dollars in revenue to be at stake. His ability to take highly technical concepts and break them down into simple, easy-to-understand presentations and tutorials is a result of the years of experience gained in his long career working with companies like Honeywell, American Express, and the national labs at Sandia and Los Alamos. As an early adopter and evangelist of the Internet, Lon has long recognized and exploited its massive potential for delivering effective sales messages via video to a global audience. As an authority on the Camtasia suite of video production software, he is a highly sought-out resource and the go-to guy of many of the top internet marketing names, such as Mike Filsaime, Willie Crawford, Ken McCarthy, Bob Jenkins, Perry Lawrence, and many more. And I can personally attest to Lon's expertise. I've been studying with him for a couple of years. Even with my years of experience with PowerPoint and Camtasia, I'm always surprised that I learn something from Lon every time I listen to him on a recording or a webinar. So Lon definitely knows his stuff, and I am so happy to have him here as my guest today. Welcome, Lon.
Hey, Susan, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Good. Well, Lon, we all know how important video is for online marketing, more and more so every day. What would you say is the biggest challenge that entrepreneurs, business owners, and other marketers are facing when it comes to video?
Well, there's probably several, but just kind of a couple of the top ones off the top of my head would probably be that people think that they need to use video, and certainly that's probably the case in today's world. It is the #1 kind of content that people want to consume. But one of the challenges, of course, is that it can be quite technical. It can be a little bit complex. And the problem is that video, you can't just necessarily anymore do video for the sake of having a video. It kind of is a level of expectation of quality nowadays that is becoming more and more important. So one of the pitfalls is that people sometimes, don't take the time to get a little bit of expertise to make sure that they look good using video as opposed to looking really bad using video. Because like I say, it's a double-edged sword. It can make you look really good, or it can make you look really kind of amateur night kind of a thing. So I think people, they'll get into video and then they'll think right off the bat that to make a quality video means to have all kinds of special effects and Hollywood trailers and things like that. And really that's not the case. I think people should focus on their content and their message and keep the video stuff simple, because it's the message that's really important. How do you teach people? How do you engage with people? How do you position yourself as an authority? These are all things that are a result of your content, not your flashy video stuff going on. So
Yeah.
people, they get way too jammed up in making it complex, overly complex, when it's really quite simple in the sense that if you deliver great content, then you can do that by a video. And by the way, keeping your video simple is easier to do. And you're
Right.
just going to come off better. So that's
Yeah.
that's probably one of the bigger things that I would suggest to people, is to keep it simple, focus on the message, engage with people, and things of that nature. And then I guess one other thing I just touch on real quickly is that a lot of people try to sell with video. They
Hmm.
think, well, if I make a video, I'm going to sell a bunch of stuff.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is that selling it's hard. To just pitch somebody. A video is no magic bullet in this regard. If you really want to sell stuff using video, or to use video to help your business, then one of the best things you can do is put out, again, quality content with a good message, and establish credibility, trust, and rapport with your people. Use video as the medium to do that, because it puts you in their face, in the sense that they'll get to know you and things like that. And people buy from people they know, like, and trust, not
Hmm.
because of some fancy schmancy animator, cartoony pitch video thing going on.
Right.
So those would be just a couple of quick things.
Yeah. If I can just add to that, I think what you said about trying to make the video too fancy, I have a feeling that's partly, for some people, it's because they don't know what their message is that they're really trying to teach, and they don't know how to get it across persuasively, because that's not something that's easy.
Sure. Well, it's not, but here's one of the ways you do that. First of all, if your business is focused on something that you're passionate about,
Hmm.
then that's a good thing. I see a
Right.
lot of people out there trying to make money on the internet. And
Right.
what do I
Right.
sell? What should I do? I said,
Sure.
what do you mean, what should you do? What do you want to do? Do what you
Yeah.
want to do.
Yeah.
And then all of that just kind of comes out. You don't have to worry about selling. You just talk to people. You
Right.
teach people. You share your expertise and your experience with people. People will buy from you because of your perspective, when they know, like, and trust you.
Hmm.
And the way you do that is you give give all that you can give. It's not, and a lot of people think, well, if I give away too much information, then nobody will want to buy my information. And I say that's junk, right? I mean, you almost can't do that, in the sense that you can give away and give away and give away, and like I say, at that stage of the game, people are going to buy from you, even if it's something you may have already taught them, because they want your perspective and they
Hmm.
want more.
Right.
And then certainly you can give more. But
Right.
people just, again, they get hung up in, oh, what am I gonna sell, and
Right.
things
Right.
like that.
Yep. Yeah, it's a different perspective than how many people approach it. Oh. Well, Lon, we heard a little bit of your background already when I read your intro, but can you tell us just briefly how you got from that high-tech background into working with video and internet marketing?
Sure. Well, I always had a love of technology, engineer at heart. And like you mentioned, I've spent over 35 years in the professional arena. And one of the things that really just kind of fascinated me during the early years at Microsoft was a little program that hadn't shipped to the public yet. It was called PowerPoint. And so we were testing it internally, and I just had in my thought process there that, wow, this is really kind of interesting, because you can use it to deliver a visual video message, a presentation. And
Hmm.
it's a great tool, and it obviously been very successful in that regard. So I jumped on that pretty early, kind of marrying the marketing message with the visual aspect of stuff. So that, I thought, right off the bat, was pretty interesting. And then, gosh, about, I don't know, 1995 or 96, a little program from a company called Lotus Software came out, and it was called Screen Cam. and it allowed you to capture your computer screen. So I'm giving hundreds and hundreds of presentations at Microsoft as a technical evangelist using PowerPoint. And when this screen capturing capability came out, it occurred to me that, gee, I could record my PowerPoint presentation and save it as a video file, and then I could distribute that to a lot of people instead of just those that could show up in our conference room at any given point in time. So that's kind of where I really, I don't know, it seemed like a no-brainer to me. You can record a presentation. Oh, and by the way, if I don't like the recording, I can record it again. So at the end of the day, what I could end up with is not just a presentation, but a really good one, right? So, and that could be my distribution education presentation. And so that just really started early. And then when I retired, I just kind of stayed on the internet, focused on technologies going on. I was very fascinated with the video aspect, and I waited 6 years for the year of internet video as it came and went until 2005, of course, when YouTube finally got racked up and we started to have the bandwidth and things capable of delivering video. And now, I got to say, we're just at a unique point in human history in the sense that we can now reach a global audience in with all kinds of content and things like that. Video is becoming ubiquitous in the sense that now every phone pretty much has the capability of creating video. So now the population at large are essentially potential content creators using video. And so, man, that's just kind of a sweet deal, don't you think?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. It's really a game changer.
I think you kind of froze up on me, Susan. Are you still there? Am I still here? I think I lost you, Susan. You're kind of stuck. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, I went to shut down Gmail and I shut down the wrong thing.
Nice.
All right, let me ask that question again. I'm curious to know how you learned the business side, the marketing and defining your unique selling proposition, determining who your ideal clients are, the kinds of things that many people, myself included, really struggle to learn when they first decide to start a business.
Sure. Well, I mean, marketing in and of itself isn't anything really very new. So there's a lot of information and stuff out there. So, it's really just kind of translating value messages and things like that into different formats. Again, one of the things I don't really do is try to sell and try to market. My basic take might be a little bit different. It's probably a whole bunch different than what a lot of marketers would say, is I just put stuff out. And to me, at the end of the day, people engage with me. They, come to know, like, and trust me. And when I sell something, I don't really sell anything. I say, if you're looking for something that does this, at that point, people kind of will be interested in hearing what I have to say about it. And if it fits their situation or fits a need that they have, they will buy it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't go in too much in the way of a lot of the more standard marketing practices, but that's not to say that I don't use things like that. So to learn things like that, I would say you could almost just go with some of the old standards, the power of persuasion types of things. Robert Cialdini would probably be the only book anyone would ever need to read, just to learn what it is that hooks people's attention and that connects with them on emotional levels. And it's not to try to trick people. It's just to be aware and understand that these are the kinds of things that will trigger them. So when you create your content, you kind of focus on some of those things, just so you make a good connection, right? And then you deliver your content and stuff. So I think a lot of people, and they get kind of confused and stuff because there is so much information out there, and there's so many people telling them to do it this way and do it that way, and yeah, it is no small task to try to weed that out. I follow like a couple of people. Jason Fladlin is one. If I was going to try to learn marketing, that's kind of a person I would go to. Andy Jenkins would be another one of my mentors. So kind of what I do is I just pick a couple, and don't get distracted by all the noise and stuff like that. So that would probably be some good advice there. Just take it easy. Don't panic.
Well, and I know you touched on this, that I think one of the most important things is you're offering something that people want. And if they don't want it, then they're not going to be interested, which is true no matter how fancy your video is or how many techniques you use. That's really the bottom line, is if you're offering something of value to people, then they're going to be interested. So
that's true.
Yep.
And for people that are creating products and things, it's great to have your own product to sell. Again, if it's based on your passion and your expertise, then you're going to have something of value and a perspective, like I mentioned, that people will be interested in.
Right.
One thing that some people make the mistake of is they create a product that nobody actually wants. So you might think it's the greatest thing in the world, but it's always a good idea to kind of engage in communities out there and find out what people want, and then you give it to them, as opposed to necessarily trying to craft it all on your end and then put it out there. If you go into the Facebook groups and any number of places on the net and find those communities and engage with them, they will literally tell you what they want in their conversations, right? So it's not that difficult, but it's kind of a front-end piece that some people kind of miss.
Well, speaking of creating products, I know that you and Joey Xoto are working on a brand new and very exciting training that you're about to launch. Can you tell us how you came up with the idea for the training and what's so unique about what you're creating together?
Well, actually, Joey approached me on it. He said that he had done a survey, like we were just talking about. He did a survey of all of his folks and said, what do you need? What do you want? What can I give you? And one of the top things was to have some training on on screen capture software called Camtasia. So what we did, he reached out to me and we decided to partner up on it. And it's essentially a little bit different in the sense that we're focusing it on how to create good screen capture video or effective screen capture video for marketing purposes. If you just want to learn how to use Camtasia, you can go to TechSmith sites, which is the company that makes it, and watch their tutorials. And they'll tell you what buttons to push and stuff like that. But again, like we discussed a little bit earlier, it boils down to a matter of content and engagement when you're trying to do such a thing for marketing purposes. So we have a lot of tips and tricks and things that we do that we make sure we put into our video messages, and so we're kind of putting all those together with the training that shows how to do that in Camtasia, and certainly PowerPoint to a degree, because the two hook together. So it's using visual video messages for marketing purposes. And one of the things that also is kind of different about Screencast Pro is that we're including actual project files. So in other words, people won't have to start from scratch to create a YouTube intro piece for their marketing, or the end card, as it's called in YouTube, or just a lot of the little elements and components that you can use in video marketing. But again, you probably have to do them from scratch or use other video tools to create them, and we're trying to kind of put everything all in one place. So there are project files that people can just go in and modify and customize for their own marketing videos, and templates. Camtasia has this thing called the library, which you can put all kinds of assets and stuff that you can use in your videos. Lower thirds, like we kind of have here on the Hangouts, and animations, and some things like that. So we're actually adding those for people that they can put into their libraries. And then as you're working on video marketing projects, you just go to your library and say, oh, I need this thing, this block, this building block, and put it into your project. So that's something that's never really been done before, and we're pretty happy about that.
Yeah, I think people will really like that. It's going to be a big time saver to have a lot of the work done already, and then they can just plunk it in and make the changes as they want to fit it into their project. That's a definitely valuable thing. And it sounds like Screencast Pro is doing some training to address that challenge we talked about at the beginning, that people are trying to make things too complicated and they're not focusing on the message. I know the material that I've seen, you are helping people to get clear about their marketing message. You're teaching video marketing, not just video creation, right?
Sure. Yeah, and that's, again, it goes to, we'll also be trying to include, as much as we can, actual walkthroughs where Joey and I will record ourselves, on screen. We'll record our screens as we walk through building a particular kind of marketing video. And that, I think, in and of itself, too, is just kind of a good thing, because there's a lot of courses out there that will say, okay, well, first you do this, then you do that. You write a script, you record it, and put it all together, edit it, and stuff like that. Well, that's all kind of well and good as far as information goes, but what we're going to do is literally fire up Camtasia and record our screens as we actually do that. So in that sense, it'll be kind of like case studies of how to build a project, how we build a project. And the interesting thing I'm finding as I'm recording some of these is that I find myself, it's almost like on our weekly webinar calls, when I start to work on something, all of a sudden I have, oh, and by the way, don't do this, as I'm talking and we're recording. Here's one thing that really kind of messes me up when I try to do this. So in the course of doing these kinds of recordings, what we're finding is that, man, that's where all the really good stuff is that you would never, really put into a generic training product, because it's not applicable all the time. But if you're creating this kind of video, or working on these kinds of projects, then these are the kinds of things that you'll run into. So I think they're kind of, I think I would be excited if I hadn't really created, say, an affiliate marketing video, and I watched something like this. I would go, man, that's pretty good, because I did not think of that. And the truth of the matter is, Joey and I, as we're recording these, sometimes we didn't think of that either, but we run into it and we address it, you know. So that's really kind of I think it's going to be an interesting thing.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you I'm definitely excited about the material, the training modules I've gone through in it already. Since you were nice enough to give me an advance copy, I have definitely enjoyed it. It's great training. I think some people might wonder, though, Lon, why should they focus on PowerPoint and Camtasia when there are so many other video marketing tools that have come out in the past year or two?
Well, I'll just say this. Don't focus on Camtasia and PowerPoint. Don't focus on any of those other video tools. Don't focus on just using your smartphone camera. It's all a collection of content. And there are certain tools that do certain jobs really well. And there are certain tools that don't do that particular job well. I'll give you an example. PowerPoint is a nice presentation style animation kind of tool because it does that. It's built in. But by the same token, you can't really put everything you need together and time it and all of that good stuff to create a good video. So what you need is a good video editor program. Well, we like to use Camtasia because it's a delightfully simple to use video editor compared to software that's made for video producers, not normal people, right? So in a case like that, I will use the proper tool for the proper job. I'll use PowerPoint to create slides with some nice visual content, and I will use Camtasia to record my screen and create that content. I'll use my smartphone to capture video, or I'll use a Hangout like we're using to, you know, engage in a conversational kind of video content. I'll use some of the other animation tools like VideoMaker FX, Explaindio. You know, these are all kind of interesting tools, but you can't make a video end-to-end out of them because they're just not made for that. They don't have a timeline. You can't edit it, right? So the secret sauce there is get yourself a video editor that you can use, and I like to use Camtasia because, you know, it has a bunch of features and stuff. But certainly you could use, I don't know, any video tool and create content that is applicable to what it is you're trying to capture. You know, to get my face on camera, I will use, you know, camera video.
Right.
I will mix that often with a few slides to break it up, you know, and to make it more engaging and keep my viewers' attention. And if I need to show something or demonstrate something on a computer, I'll capture it with screen capture. And so, you know, it's not that, and a lot of people try to do this. They try to find a magic video tool that will make their videos. And that's, you're just going to be disappointed there. You need an editor, then you can create these pieces of content with all these other different things. I'll give you an example. VideoMaker FX. I like this tool. It's dirt cheap, and it creates some really nice animations, you know, that aren't too wild or anything, and it's just easy to do. Easy to do. So I can create a couple pieces of content that maybe, you know, have some bullets come in or has this particular effect, and I save that as a video. But that is not going to be my end of the video story. I'm going to take those pieces, pull them into Camtasia, add my narration, right, and kind of put everything together. And then Camtasia is going to spit out just a beautiful piece of video.
Yeah.
So don't get hung up in a tool or anything like that. I guess would be my best recommendation there.
I think it's a great recommendation. That's definitely how I do it too.
Lon,
I know that part of the plan that you and Joey have is for ongoing training. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We're also, in conjunction with Screencast Pro, which is the main training and templates and stuff like that, will have a monthly component to that. It's called Vidojo. So it's, you know, I guess it's going to be some kind of samurai ninja
Right.
stuff. But what we'll be able to do on an ongoing basis then are create more of these walkthroughs, more of these templates, more of these projects, add more graphics packages, you know, and library assets, and we'll have, you know, a few monthly webinars where we'll demonstrate stuff and things like that. So every month, then we'll be able to add more and more and more and more content, and we think folks will kind of like that. It's a little bit like our weekly webinars that you're very familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
Although those are more just questions and answers, the content in Vidojo will be, you know, a little more hands-on. Here's your stuff, you know, download this stuff, and we'll show you how to use it and things like that. So,
no, that sounds great. So people can really get a serious education in Camtasia Studio.
Seriously, we're looking for serious people. We're not messing around here because, you know, I tried that.
I know you'll have some fun with it too, but yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
You know me.
Yeah.
We'll get together. We'll have some laughs. We'll have a few beers. So it'll be fun.
BYOB, right?
There you go.
So how is this Screencast Pro community going to differ from the coaching that you already offer, like you mentioned, with Learn Camtasia community with Michelle Shane?
As far as the coaching stuff, the webinars and whatnot?
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I mentioned on the weekly coaching calls, those are mostly questions and answers. So it's live, and of course we record them, so we have an archive of all the past events. But that program is great for people that are working on projects currently and maybe running into problems and things like that. So in that sense, it's much more of a coaching part. You know, answer your questions. Tell me what you're trying to do, and I'll help you with it. The Vidojo stuff is more accumulating resources and additional, you know, some tutorials and things like that every month, as opposed to a large amount of just pure questions and answers.
Okay, that makes sense. And I understand you're also going to be offering some done-for-you services, video marketing services. When will that be launching, and is there a particular target market you're approaching for that?
Well, it's really going to be, what we're trying to do is, Joey and I aren't going to be offering it specifically because we don't want to get in the middle of essentially connecting people that want videos made for them. So our training will give people, if they choose to do so, everything they need to be able to create their own. But we know for a fact that, especially marketers, they're not going to want to do that. But they are going to want someone to do it for them. So what we're doing is we're hooking up with our best and brightest, like you, as an example. And what we're going to do is have kind of our A-team, you know, our recommended list of our go-to folks. And as our customers at Screencast Pro come to us and say, well, we'd like to have videos made for us, do you know of anybody? Then we'll just go, well, yeah, turns out we do. I got a gal named Susan over here who's pretty good at it. So we're going to kind of do, like I say, we're cherry picking just a very select few people that we know are going to do good work for folks, and so we'll be able to kind of refer those on to people, and then you fine folks will go ahead and take excellent care of them and make some awesome videos for them. It's just kind of a convenient, arrangement.
A referral service,
like
basically.
Right, but Joey and I aren't going to be in the middle of it,
yeah,
and try to manage it and stuff like that, because that would be That would be painful, I think.
It'd be a whole lot of extra work. Yep.
It sure would. But we're excited about, being able to let people know where they can go to get some good video work done.
Yeah. Well, and it's a very much needed service because, like you said, the marketers shouldn't be spending their time doing that.
They really seriously shouldn't. And, I mean, some will want to, and
Right.
it'll be okay for some, but, or a marketer, that has a team. Maybe they have a video person, a production person on staff, or outsource it.
Right.
This would just be a part of that puzzle.
Right. Good. Well, Lon, I know you have a free resource to offer people. While I bring it up on the screen here, the URL, do you want to tell us what's there?
I think this is my, I just have a little PowerPoint template with some effects that I use, and it's literally something that I have open on my computer whenever I'm working on a presentation style video. And quite frankly, even if I just have camera video or screen capture video, I almost always put some kind of slides in there, either at the beginning, just to grab people's attention, or at the end as a call to action. So this is just a little set of, I think it's 4 effects that I use that I've modified in PowerPoint to make them just a little bit more impactful. They aren't wild, they aren't crazy. Like I say, keep your effects to a minimum, but they are kind of interesting. So I have this little template and a tutorial on how I use it. So I have it open, and when I create a new set of slides for a video presentation, I can apply these effects, in essence, copy the effects from my template into my project. And it just saves me a whole bunch of time, and it's just kind of a nice little template and resource. Like I say, I give you the PowerPoint file with the effects built into it and a tutorial on how you use it.
Great. And that URL is on the screen there, but if anybody's having trouble seeing it, that's at http://www.learncamtasia.com/free PowerPoint. And that will be great, Lon. Thank you. That'll give people a little bit of an idea of the kinds of effects that you are providing, and maybe a little taste of what they might find when they check out the Screencast Pro.
Sure. Actually, that's a good point. That I mentioned there's a tutorial with it. You can actually watch the tutorial, and as you do, don't just learn how to use the template and stuff, but watch some of the tactics that I use as I created and edited that tutorial.
Oh, great.
It's
good idea.
Actually not a bad tutorial.
Yeah.
I should say so.
Good. Well, we need to wrap up here. Is there any last word you want to leave people about how they can get more information about what you're doing?
Well, I would say that for your folks, they should stay tuned to you, because I know you'll be putting out the word when Screencast Pro is getting ready to take some signups. We're going to do a pre-launch. So we're going to have like a 3-video, highly educational, lots of free stuff process, regular video launch process starting on the 16th of February, and then we'll be opening up the shopping cart, going live on the 24th, and you can kind of get your folks in touch with that, and we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So thank you so much, Lon, for talking with me today and sharing such great information with our audience.
My pleasure.